You are secretly bleeding out. That suffocating anxiety in your chest isn't a flaw. It's a ruthless trap deliberately engineered to keep you forever broke. Want to violently shatter this illusion? You must survive every brutal second of this video to uncover the shocking final endgame. It is exactly 2 a.m. The suffocating silence of your room is only broken by the cold, synthetic blue glow of your smartphone illuminating a face drained of life, paralyzed by a terrifying realization. You are drowning in the invisible quicksand of the quarter-life crisis. While you lie there gasping for a breath of purpose, the world outside seems to be accelerating at warp speed. You watch them, your peers, closing deals on houses, flashing designer steering wheels on their stories, laughing in restaurants where a single appetizer costs your entire month's rent. And you? You are trapped in a hollow, agonizing void, frantically searching for the answer to a meaningless question. Who am I in this deafening world? Stop. Right now. Snap out of this engineered coma. What if I told you that the crushing anxiety you feel in your chest right now isn't a flaw in your character, but a highly profitable psychological trap set by a system deliberately designed to feed on your insecurities and keep you forever broke? If you have the courage to wake up and finally tear down the illusions ruining your future, hit that subscribe button right now. Your support is the engine that fuels this channel, giving us the immense drive to keep exposing the uncomfortable, raw realities they never wanted you to know. Warmly welcomes you to a journey that will fundamentally alter the trajectory of your existence. 90% of the digital flaunting you see every single day is nothing but toxic, manipulated vaporware, phantom wealth meticulously staged to hijack your psychological stability. Those exotic cars are rented by the hour. The bank statements are skillfully forged. The prestigious job titles are empty husks. They are creating a massive cognitive blood clot in your brain, suffocating your ability to perceive true value and real risk. The crippling peer pressure you carry on your shoulders is arguably the greatest fraud of the digital era, a twisted arena where people eagerly drown in high-interest debt to construct a glamorous shell, all just to impress strangers they fundamentally despise. And right when you are at your absolute lowest, desperately gasping for a financial and mental oxygen tank, society forces toxic sedatives down your throat. Just follow your passion, the money will follow. Or, live in the moment, you are only young once. I'm telling you from my own scarred experience, those empty platitudes are the most lethal weapons ever aimed at your wallet and your future. Passion does not pay the landlord. Passion will not shield you from the brutal margin calls of life when tragedy inevitably strikes. That is exactly why I am not here today to stroke your ego. I am bringing you the unvarnished reality through the eyes of Mark Tilbury, a 57-year-old self-made multi-millionaire. Mark is not some snake oil salesman peddling cheap motivational courses. He is an old, battle-scarred wolf who has survived crushing economic cycles. A man who started with absolutely nothing, dropped out of school at 16, and built an empire worth tens of millions of dollars with his bare hands. His lessons carry a high mortality rate for your comfort zone. They are naked, frigid, and as utterly ruthless as the laws of capitalism itself. But they are the truth. They are the only bitter pill capable of surgically removing the tumor of illusion that is quietly devouring your youth. This is not meant for the weak-hearted who crave sweet, comforting lies. Consider this a major psychological surgery performed entirely without anesthesia. It is a grueling, relentless test of your focus, the single most inflated and scarce asset in the modern world. If you can suppress the primal urge to skip ahead, if you can force yourself to endure the discomfort and stay with me until the very last second of this video, You will walk away with a complete, bulletproof blueprint for your mind. We are going to dissect, analyze, and weaponize 50 blood-soaked lessons from a true mastermind. The question is, are you ready? Because the high-stakes survival game of your life begins the moment you decide to keep listening. To truly understand this survival game, we must first examine the battlefield where most of you are already bleeding out: your own mind. Mark Tilbury did not build his massive fortune by trading hours for dollars. He built it by realizing early on that time is a ruthless dictator that will enslave you if you do not conquer it first. Society programs you to think of money in terms of a standard salary, an hourly wage happily traded for your most precious, finite resource. You buy that trendy iced coffee or that heavily marketed designer jacket, not with the numbers in your bank account, but with the irreplaceable hours of your fleeting youth. When you grasp that visceral reality, a $50 purchase is not just $50. It is 3 agonizing hours of your life surrendered to a corporate overlord just to look wealthy to strangers. Mark realized at 16 that the traditional path, getting a degree, drowning in unforgiving student loans, and climbing a corporate ladder designed to keep you exhausted, is a perfectly orchestrated poverty trap. It is a system mathematically built to keep you just hungry enough to keep working, but just comfortable enough to stop you from rebelling. You must violently reject this middle-class mindset of saving pennies while hemorrhaging time. Wealth is not about hoarding cash under a dusty mattress. Wealth is the ultimate mechanism to buy back your freedom from a system that views you as a cog. The first of Mark's brutal truths is that absolutely nobody is coming to save you. No politician, no stimulus check, and certainly no magical stroke of luck will pull you out of the financial abyss. You are the sole architect of your own destruction or your own salvation. If you spend your evenings numbing your exhaustion with mindless digital entertainment instead of building a system that generates revenue while you sleep, you are actively choosing poverty. The millionaire mindset requires you to become a predator in an ecosystem of prey. You must consume knowledge with a terrifying, insatiable hunger. Every book you read, every financial concept you master, is a lethal weapon added to your mental arsenal. Tilbury understood that formal education will make you a modest living, but self-education will make you a staggering fortune. Stop looking at the wealthy with bitter envy and start looking at them with a forensic, clinical curiosity. Dissect their daily habits, their colossal failures, and their sheer audacity to defy the conventional timeline. You must cultivate an unparalleled level of financial literacy, turning your mind into an impenetrable fortress against the psychological warfare of modern consumerism. Once your mind is fortified against the illusions of the working class, you are ready to tackle the raw, mechanical engine of wealth: acquiring capital. You cannot save your way to millions if your income is merely a pitiful trickle. You must engineer that trickle into a raging, uncontrollable river. Mark Tilbury's journey from a high school dropout to a financial tycoon was not paved with passive, timid steps. It required a borderline psychotic obsession with producing immense value. You are currently being paid exactly what the free market dictates your skills are worth. And if you are broke, the market is brutally telling you that you are entirely replaceable. This is a bitter pill to swallow, but it is the absolute bedrock of your financial rebirth. You must stop waiting for a manager to hand you a microscopic promotion and start engineering your own personal economy. The internet has violently democratized wealth creation, yet you use it to scroll through the curated lies we exposed earlier. Pivot immediately. Your 20s and 30s should be a relentless, grueling boot camp of skill acquisition. High-income skills, persuasive sales, copywriting, complex coding, digital marketing are the modern equivalent of discovering an oil well in your backyard. Mark leveraged a simple wooden toy business by deeply understanding supply, demand, and the primal psychology of the buyer. He did not wait for anyone's permission. He aggressively solved a problem people were desperately willing to pay for. You must adopt this exact creator mentality right this second. Stop being a passive, obedient consumer of the world and become a ruthless producer of value. Start that side hustle today, even if it feels embarrassing and pathetic in the beginning. Expect to fail miserably and publicly. Expect the people closest to you to mock your late nights and weekend sacrifices. Their mockery is merely the tragic echo of their own cowardice and regret. Every failed venture is a masterclass in what not to do, a necessary bleeding scar that hardens your business acumen. The ultimate goal in this phase is to aggressively decouple your income from your time. If your physical presence is required to make a single dollar, you will inevitably die poor. You must build intricate systems, hire out your weaknesses to those willing to trade time for money, and create digital or physical products that can be sold infinite times while you sleep. Wealth is the natural byproduct of scale and leverage. It is about working with a violent intensity for a few years so you can spend the rest of your life existing entirely on your own terms. Generating a massive income is only the first half of the battle. The true war is fought in how viciously you defend and multiply every single dollar you make. Making money proves you have hustle, but keeping and growing that money proves you have superior intellect. Mark Tilbury did not amass tens of millions simply by hoarding profits in a checking account. He transformed his cash into an army of mercenaries whose only job was to capture more cash. The vast majority of you suffer from lifestyle creep, a terminal financial disease that keeps high earners trapped in the middle class. The moment you secure a raise or have a successful month in your new business, you immediately upgrade your apartment, finance a luxury car you cannot afford, and inflate your fragile ego. You are voluntarily putting the heavy iron chains of the rat race right back on your wrists. Tilbury's philosophy dictates that until your passive income from investments entirely covers your extravagant living expenses, you have absolutely zero right to live lavishly. You must live far below your means, channeling every spare cent into income-producing assets with the discipline of a monk. We are talking about low-cost index funds, cash-flowing real estate, and dividend-paying stocks. You deeply need to understand the terrifying, undeniable magic of compound interest. It is the eighth wonder of the world, and it is currently working against you through your high-interest credit card debt, auto loans, and underwater mortgages. You must flip the script and make it work for you. You need to delay gratification to a degree that looks entirely insane to the average broke person. When the broader market crashes and the uneducated masses are panicking, liquidating their entire life savings in a state of absolute terror, you must be the apex predator waiting in the shadows with cash on hand, ready to buy phenomenal assets at a fraction of their true value. Rich people do not run from economic downturns. They orchestrate their greatest wealth transfers during them. Risk is not something to be avoided. It is something to be calculated, managed, and ruthlessly exploited. Putting your money in a traditional savings account while inflation runs rampant is guaranteed financial suicide. You have to force your money into the trenches to fight for your future. Real estate provides powerful leverage, incredible tax advantages, and monthly cash flow. Stocks provide historical, compounding growth. Your singular job is to build a diversified financial fortress so impenetrable that no economic recession, no global pandemic, and no personal tragedy can ever threaten your family's survival. When you have successfully weaponized your mind, maximized your earning potential, and built an impenetrable fortress of assets, you finally reach the summit where true life actually begins. This entire brutal, exhausting journey was never actually about the physical paper money itself. Mark Tilbury, and every other self-made magnate who has conquered this vicious game, will look you in the eye and tell you that the zeros in the bank account quickly lose their dopamine hit. The ultimate currency you have been fighting for all along is freedom. Total, unadulterated, unapologetic autonomy over your entire existence. It is the raw power to wake up on a random Tuesday morning and decide you want to fly across the world, to walk away from toxic bosses and toxic relationships without a second of hesitation, and to know that your future bloodline will never have to experience the suffocating anxiety of living paycheck to paycheck. But achieving this pinnacle requires a ruthless, unrelenting consistency that most human beings are simply too fragile to maintain. It requires decades of doing the boring, repetitive, unglamorous work when the cameras are off and absolutely nobody is clapping for you. You will lose friends along this path. You will inevitably outgrow the people who refuse to evolve past their pathetic excuses, and you will have to make peace with the deep isolation that accompanies extraordinary success. That is the non-negotiable price of admission. You cannot carry the dead weight of mediocrity into a life of greatness. These blood-soaked lessons we have traversed today are not just financial advice. They are a philosophical mandate for your life. They demand that you look at yourself in the mirror tonight and take absolute, unconditional accountability for every failure, every bad debt, and every wasted second of your life up to this point. Forgive yourself for the ignorance of your past, but be utterly merciless with your present. The quarter-life crisis you are feeling in your chest right now is not your enemy. It is the alarm clock of your soul screaming at you to wake up before it is too late. You now possess the blueprint. The grand illusion has been shattered. The only variable left in this equation is your own willpower. Are you going to close this video and slip seamlessly back into the comfortable, numbing coma of the average, or are you going to step confidently into the abyss, embrace the friction, and build an empire? The clock is ticking, the world is unforgiving, and your legacy begins right now. The journey to extraordinary wealth is not a matter of luck, but a deliberate, calculated war against the programming of a society designed to keep you broke. As Mark Tilbury's journey illustrates, achieving true financial freedom requires a radical deconstruction of your current reality. You must first stop trading your finite, irreplaceable time for depreciating liabilities, recognizing that every dollar spent on fleeting consumerism is a surrender of your own future autonomy. Once your mindset is fortified, you must pivot from being a passive consumer into a ruthless producer. This demands aggressively acquiring high-income skills and decoupling your time from your earnings by building scalable systems. Yet, generating cash is only half the equation. You must weaponize that income by violently rejecting lifestyle creep, living far below your means, and pouring every available cent into compounding assets like index funds and cash-flowing real estate. Risk must be calculated and market downturns ruthlessly exploited. Ultimately, this grueling path is not about hoarding digital numbers on a screen. It is about buying back your total, unapologetic freedom. It requires you to endure isolation, outgrow mediocre peers, and embrace the unglamorous, boring grind of daily discipline. You are the sole architect of your financial destiny. The blueprint has been laid bare. The only remaining requirement is your absolute, uncompromising execution. True wealth is not measured by the luxury items you own to impress strangers, but by the sheer amount of time and autonomy you command. Money is simply the ammunition required to buy back your freedom from a system that feeds on your exhaustion. If your income depends entirely on your physical presence and your expenses rise every time your paycheck does, you are permanently trapped in a gilded cage. Audit your bleeding. Look at your bank statements from the last 90 days. Calculate exactly how many hours of your life you traded for purchases that provided only temporary dopamine hits. Kill those expenses immediately. Build your engine. Choose one scalable, high-income skill today, whether it is copywriting, digital marketing, or software development, and dedicate 2 uninterrupted hours every evening to mastering it instead of watching Netflix. Weaponize your margins. Open a brokerage account and automate a percentage of your income into a broad market index fund the exact day you get paid. Force yourself to survive solely on the remainder, letting compound interest work for you instead of against you. What is one unnecessary expense you are willing to cut out today to start funding your financial freedom? Please drop your answer in the comments below so we can all learn and get inspired by each other's perspectives. If you found value in this video and want to keep arming your mind with the brutal truths of wealth creation, please subscribe to the channel. Your support gives us the incredible motivation to keep producing high-quality, life-changing content for you.